I tend to be more, biased in favor of action. That's not necessarily natural. That's from training myself to, um, time is going to heal a lot of mistakes that you make in real estate. And if you have some mentorship, if you have some coaching, if you have some of a community to run your deals by, that's probably going to prevent you from making any disastrous mistakes, right? And so you're still going to have anxiety. I tell people like real estate it's kind of about money, but it's really about emotion.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen and I'm here with Dr. Keith Buhler. He is an investor and he's going to tell us about how to start out, how to do something with a full-time job, and how to eventually transition into making it a full-time job if that's your goal. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about how you got into the real estate market. I know that you were a full-time teacher and this was kind of a side thing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've been in education for 17 years. And when my wife and I moved away to graduate school, a realtor friend of ours said, if you're going to buy a house out in grad school where houses are affordable, because I'm originally from California, if you're going to buy a house, then buy a duplex and you can rent out one side and live in the other side for almost free, which they now call house hacking. And we were able to find a duplex just like that. This was back in 2012.
Mhm.
And sure enough, the rent almost covered the mortgage. I think we were paying $200 a month.
Mm.
So I remember thinking, I've always wanted to do real estate, but I remember thinking, it actually works. This is crazy. And we held onto that house for years. We still have that house. And that's kind of how I got the bug.
That's amazing. And talk about kind of starting out and how you actually made that jump. What was the preparation before you bought that duplex?
We did have to, I was newly married. We did have to move in with our folks for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. We saved up, our two little salaries. And we had enough for what we thought was a significant down payment. We had $10,000. We got an FHA loan on this duplex. I think we only put 4,000 down. And, looking back now, I'm like, that was a screaming good deal. But it was just a little bit of that mindset shift from my realtor friend saying, you could put 10,000 down on a house that you're going to live in and then sell when you move away, or you can put 4,000 into an investment property, which you're never going to be able to do again unless you live there.
Yeah.
And you can keep it and you can rent it out. And sure enough, over time, we were in grad school for 5 years. Once we moved out, there's a regulation, you have to live there for a year. Once we moved out, the rent from 2 units more than covered the mortgage and almost paid for our rent at the new place.
Wow.
And it was like, wow, this is amazing. So it was the mindset shift. It was making some of those sacrifices to save up and then taking the action, the scary part.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think a lot of people, there's two sides of the coin. Some people jump in blind and get shocked with the reality of everything, and other people can spend years in education learning things and not actually take the action. So what does that balance look like for you?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I tend to be more, biased in favor of action. That's not necessarily natural. That's from training myself to, time is going to heal a lot of mistakes that you make in real estate. And if you have some mentorship, if you have some coaching, if you have some of a community to run your deals by, that's probably going to prevent you from making any disastrous mistakes, right? And so you're still going to have anxiety. I tell people like real estate it's kind of about money, but it's really about emotion. You're going to have some anxiety taking that first action, writing the first check, putting in the offer even. I remember them coming back with, my realtor saying they accepted your offer and thinking, oh no, that means I have to do this.
Yeah, actually do it.
And so there's that anxiety, as long as you can reflect back and say, you know what, my mentor thinks it's a good deal, or my community thinks it's a good deal, then that can give you the guts to kind of go forward. And then on the other side, it's like, oh, this isn't that bad. Even when there's challenges with tenants, I did manage it myself once we moved out. I managed it myself for a year just to get that experience. And it was hard. We had challenges. And you know what? None of them were that bad.
Yeah.
So by the end of that experience, you kind of feel like, oh, I think I could do this again.
Right. That resilience. And then in the beginning of your real estate, career, you held that property for a long time, and that was your single property, correct?
That's right. The cash flow just kept going up and up and up. The property manager would say we raised the rent $40 or something, but that was $40 of pure profit per side, right? So that's $800 a year. And as a teacher, my salary has never been, very big. And so an extra maybe 500, $600 a month by the end there was real spending money. And I know a lot of people say, keep the money from the property in the property, keep it in the savings account, build up a reserve, that kind of a thing. But I was like, I budgeted that money. I mean, that was part of our monthly income, and it made a huge difference. And then getting a second duplex, even though the days of cheap money are sort of gone, second duplex cash flowed right away. And it was like, wow, why doesn't everybody do this? But one of the things I advise my fellow teachers to do, or people who, really love their day job, is you don't have to become a professional. You can just get one house. That cash flow will inch up over time. Usually the equity goes up over time, and you're building this kind of nest egg of wealth without really doing anything about it.
Absolutely. And how passive was it for you?
Very passive. My joke was, it's not 5 hours a week, it's 5 hours a year. It's call the property manager. Can we raise the rent? Do you approve this $500 water heater expense? Because we had if it's over 500. Very, very passive. Collect the checks, check in on the tenants sometimes. I did like, once we moved away from that original location, I did like to go back every now and then, but essentially hire the professional and trust them to do it. You manage the manager, but I was like, wow, I could do this for a lot more properties. Now I'm a bit more involved, but at the time it was very, very passive.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as you said, maybe people looking for that passive extra income. It's a good option, and you don't have to be making tens of thousands of dollars a month. Just $500 a month can make a big impact.
It's huge. And if you look at if you make a little spreadsheet, and I have this spreadsheet in my kind of like resources that I share with people, equity growth over time, paying down your mortgage over time, cash flow over time, and depreciation over time. If you add those up, it ends up, even with like a small property in the Midwest, ends up being thousands and thousands of dollars a year. And over 20 years, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that are accumulated in that one property for almost no work. It's a lot of work up front to get it, research and all these things. I don't want to make it sound too easy,
Yeah.
but if you can get past that first deal and let the property manager manage it, it can just grow over time, and it's an amazing feeling.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, amazing. And then from there, how did you start? Talk about just how you started building your portfolio up and maybe transitioning to more on that side rather than teaching.
So the second deal that we did was in 2020. It was COVID, and there was government stimulus checks, and my wife was working, and we had some savings built up again. And we were kind of looking at it's funny because we were looking at our budget. And we're like, we need a minivan for our kids. You know, our kids are getting older. We have a small car, and we did a spreadsheet when we could afford the minivan. And it basically told us we can afford the minivan when our oldest is 16 years old. And we thought, well, that's not going to work because we don't need a minivan when we have teenagers anymore. And so, again, on a teacher salary, we thought we have to accelerate this somewhat. And investing was the only other tool that I had to generate income. And I do love teaching. So I didn't necessarily want to go get another job. So the second deal we did with a combination of cash and doing a refinance and like a interesting sort of portfolio loan where they put the new house on the mortgage of the first house. They essentially refinanced the first house, put two houses on the one mortgage, and we had to bring something like 13,000 to close. So it felt like a very cheap investment. And people can do this with their primary home. You know, they can leverage some equity from their primary home. If they can do this, if once they get their first one, they can leverage the first one to get the next one, even if you don't have a lot of cash on hand. And from that moment, from 2020 to the present day, I've done like 21 deals. So I definitely caught the bug. Since that one, I've used partnerships, right? So using other people's money,
Right.
OPM, either bringing in a partner, bringing in just a cash loan, private loan. So once I had the process down, then it's like, well, how do you just fuel this? You need capital.
Right.
Um, and so from that, it was actually trying to buy long-term properties that, you know, maybe needed some work. So we would fix them up and then rent them out. From that is how I learned how to flip, was managing contractors, you know, working with a property manager, maybe to use their crew to get this house renovated. And once it's renovated, sometimes the most obvious thing to do is to sell it because you've created all this value. And if you can't afford to buy, you know, 15 houses in a row, you kind of recoup that capital from the flip and reinvest it in another house and create more value. So that's how I've ended up in the flipping world the last couple of years.
Nice. That's a really exciting trajectory through it. And talk about as you started kind of building out a team and partnerships and raising capital, what are your tips for finding people who are aligned with you and who are a good fit?
Um, it's, you know, it's so cliche, right? It's just talking to people, asking them what they want. I tend to get very excited about things. You know, whatever I'm into at the moment, I'll be talking about it with everybody. And even if you don't find it that interesting, you know, the excitement can be contagious. So I was talking to people about real estate, and they would ask me, you know, kind of, what are you doing? Or I've always wanted to do that. And some of these partnerships just develop naturally from that. Um, Asking them questions, you know, what are your goals? What are your retirement goals? What are your income goals? What are your net worth goals? People are in, if people are willing to talk about their financial situation, which can be sensitive, they're in such interesting positions, right? You have people who have so much money, they don't know what to do with it, and they don't know where to invest. They have a problem, maybe not a poverty problem, but they have a problem of, what do I invest in? Then there's people who are really low income and they're stuck in this like, I can't invest because I don't have any money. How do I get more money? Well, how do I generate income through real estate without needing to invest, it's probably going to be serving somebody who's doing bigger investments.
Right.
So just finding out the different needs of people and their different journeys and finding out ways to help them. So it was just amazing the first time that somebody was like, I read one of your posts online. I saw that you're doing real estate. I have $60,000 to invest. Can you do something with it?
Mm.
And we've been together as partners for 4 years. We got four properties together, renovated them all, and just sold off the last one. And it was an amazing journey. And it was just came from a online post.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are nervous to put themselves out there like that, fear of rejection, especially on social media. I think people are very shy to, you know, tell people what they're up to and fear that people might judge them. But I mean, exactly what you said, just one little, share of your life can generate business for years. And then
Yeah, and I think
yeah, keep going, please.
well, yeah, it really is. I've since learned that people, they call it content marketing or um, some of these like lifestyle kind of social media things. Like that really wasn't my goal. I really just used my social media for my life, pictures of my kid. But I think that can be really powerful just to tell your story if you're learning, if you're scared, if you're excited, if you're having fun, if you're going to meetups, you're just sharing your story and then that will kind of naturally bring people who are like-minded and you can start to form partnerships. One of the biggest limitations that I had and I see in other people now is this idea of like I have to do it all myself.
Hmm.
And I don't have the money or I don't have the time or I don't have the expertise. And the fact is that with just one or two people in partnership, if you trust each other, then you can make up for each other's lacks. And so that's not really a good excuse. If you're willing to, know your limitations and find people who can supplement, you can do a lot. You can do a lot.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to kind of outsource in that way. And then, you talked about flipping and you talked about how you do holds and all that. I know that there's a method that you're kind of playing with right now about leaseback. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, typically if I get a property and I fix it up, I'm looking to sell it or I'm looking to rent it out. And I'm hoping, I've done my research on what that rental market is like. I'm hoping to get a really good top dollar rent for a nice place. But even when you have a nice place and you do get a top dollar lease, it takes time. It takes either someone building a relationship, someone to do the tours, or you have to be. I'm all out of state, so I'm not local. So I'm having to shop in places where I already have the relationship with the property manager. So there's definitely some limitations there. But there's a company that, will bring you off market deals where the tenant is the former owner. They want to sell their house, they want to cash out their equity, but they don't want to move. And it might be for any number of reasons. It actually makes sense, that you might want to sell your house and use the cash to buy your next home, but you don't want to do it on a timeline. You don't want to have a gun to your head that says move out in 30 days or 60 days. I mean, that's really tense. So they might want to stay for a year or 6 months while they shop, or maybe they just need the cash. So this one lady, I'm hoping closing tomorrow, knock on wood, been delayed, that, she is in her retirement years. She wants to cash out her home, but she doesn't want to move. She's not leveling up.
Right.
She just wants to have some cash on hand. She's paying her rent essentially out of the cash that she's getting. So she's going to live for free for a few years. And then from there, who knows? But from a buyer's perspective, I'm getting a good off market deal with guaranteed rent and sometimes prepaid rent, which is the name of the game. You actually close with cash. That's crazy. So I'm exploring that because I think it might be a way to, do a BRRRR strategy kind of in a creative way. Buy properties with a tenant in place on short-term debt, fix it up, and maybe in 6 months or a year, put a long-term loan on it. And, you might get back 100% of the capital that you put in and then rinse and repeat. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's a really cool option. Yeah, I think you've given a lot of good, I mean, you've given good background to a lot of different methods within the industry. And to kind of wrap all this up, what would be a piece of advice that you wish you learned earlier in your career that you can share with us today?
Hmm. Um, it's definitely the more you learn, the more you earn. That's from Marco Santarelli. I don't know where he got it. I started listening to his podcast right there around there in 2020, every single day, going on walks or going on runs. And I wasn't taking action at that point, but I needed to fill in a lot of gaps in my knowledge base to be able to take action.
Hmm.
And not forever, like you said, not don't learn forever, but if I had been, even if though I said, oh, I'm not ready, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough connections. If I'd been learning sooner, then I would have had eyes to see those opportunities sooner. And now that I know a bit more, the opportunities I see, are everywhere. There's way more opportunities than I can handle. And it's more about kind of balancing and prioritizing those opportunities. So, um, learning more, whether you know how you're going to use it or not is huge. And the other one is just how much capital there is. Um, Again, being a teacher, fairly low income, I just thought you have to save up your own money and spend your own money, invest your own money. There are all kinds of different types of wealth out there, and the wealth is looking for somebody who knows how to direct it.
Hmm.
So whether you have the wealth or not, if you have the knowledge, then the wealth will find you to say, hey, can you put this into a flip? Can you put this into a long-term investment for me? Can you put this into, finding a business or any sort of opportunities are out there? If you're an opportunity finder, then the capital actually will find you, and that brings value to the market. So that was a big surprise, and of course, a lot of people know that. It's sort of basic, but it was a big surprise to me.
No, I think that that's really good advice. And I think that a lot of people kind of have those self-limiting beliefs that get in the way of taking the action and learning and all that. So I think it's important to do exactly what you say, like learn and also be open to opportunity.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's one thing I'm good at. It's learning. I'm a professional educator. I should be able to teach myself some of these things. But whether you're fast or slow, once you learn the lessons, then the market needs people that know what to do, and then having the courage to take action, or join a community of people who can support you and say, you've got a screaming good deal on your hands. Go, go, go. This is your first deal. And you go, really? It is? And take that action.
Amazing. Well, I think that's a great note to end on. Tell everyone where to find you and how to work with you.
So my real estate website is Numenor Homes. It's Numinor, numenorhomes.com. And I have examples of flips that I've done. You can get in touch with me if you do want to invest capital, or if you basically want to partner and help, I can help people find homes and help them invest in their home. They own it completely. I take a fee and we part ways. So just however I can serve people, I do a free consultation. And on social media, Keith Buhler or Keith E.D. Buhler for Edward. Um, be happy to connect with some of your audience.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you learned a lot, got some inspiration for your business, and we will see you back next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.